Lovebug. If you happen to be new here, my name is Mercy Yvonne, and my channel is all about being the intersection between faith and fashion. So we're gonna serve the Lord, but baby, we're gonna serve like as well. Now, getting into today's video, we are going to talk all things natural hair, my natural hair journey, some questions that have come up, things of that type of sort. So if you want to talk more about natural hair, go ahead, grab your little snacky snack, sit back, relax, and let's chat. So this was not the video that I thought I was going to film. And I had kind of moved away from like hair content. I didn't really want to ever really film hair content. I filmed a video probably like when I first started that never saw the light of day because I didn't really want to become a hair content creator. I did not want that to be attached to who I was. But I really just have been very reflective on my natural hair journey and just my experience as a Black woman, of course, in America, and just other things that have transpired over the past several months, especially, you know, now that we're in 2025 under this new administration and things that have been coming up. I feel like there are just a lot of things that it's just like, okay, let's dive into some things. And I was watching a documentary and it's called Back to Natural, and it's over here on YouTube, so I will try to like leave it in the description box or link it so that if you want you can give it a watch. But it really had me extremely reflective, and it just made me be like, okay, I want to talk to y'all. Like, I want to talk natural hair. So I know that there's a back and forth about like what's the best way to be natural, right? Like to do that period, to transition into your natural hair journey. Should you big chop? Should you transition? What's best? And I think you really just have to do what's best for you and figure out what is going to work for you. I personally transitioned. I transitioned for 2 years and then was completely natural. I made the decision on August 12, 2015 that was my last perm. I got a perm as we know it, but a relaxer. And I made the decision that day, that was my last one, and that I'm never gonna get another one. And I made the decision to start my natural hair journey. I enjoyed the rest of my time period as relaxed until that new growth started coming in, and I really began to enjoy my transitioning period. And I transitioned for 2 years, finding styles that worked for where my hair was at that time, and slowly, you know, clipping away my relaxed ends. And so by the end of 2017, start of 2018, I was completely natural. It was what worked best for me. I knew that making the decision to go completely to a big chop, that was not going to work for me. Like, I knew I did not want to deal with short hair. I did not want to deal with that. And so that wasn't what was the best decision for me to make. But I know people that did big chop, and that was the best decision for them. And so you're back and forth about big chop versus transitioning. You really just have to decide what's best for you. I know some people that they couldn't do the transitioning period because they couldn't dealing with those two textures. So you really just have to figure out what is going to be in the best interest of yourself. Now, when we're talking about the conversation about like the hair typing chart and your hair type and all of that, I feel like I fall into like a 4B, 4C. I know right now you're not going to get my natural texture because this is like a 2-week-old twist out, so you're not really going to see it. But I do have very kinky, coily hair. It's very coarse hair. I lean more onto like black hair, like what you would typically classify as black hair. I kind of had that. And so that was definitely for me a personal adjustment because I wasn't sure what my hair was going to look like because I had never seen my hair in its natural state until I made the decision to go natural. So not really knowing what to expect or how to plan and how to prepare for it definitely was an adjustment. And so you really have to figure out your hair. But with learning your hair type, you also have to consider your porosity. And so porosity just speaks to the way in which your hair absorbs moisture. So if you have high porosity, which means it's easier for your hair strands to absorb moisture, but it's also easier for them to release moisture as well. If you have middle or medium porosity, then you're in the middle, so you do pretty well in getting in moisture, and moisture is maintained for a pretty decent amount of time. If you have low porosity, it says that it's difficult for your hair strands to absorb and receive moisture. But typically when it's locked in, your hair will stay moisturized for a long period of time. So really just finding out what products are going to work best for you. If you want to figure out how to determine your hair porosity, doing the water strand test, so taking a strand of your hair, sticking it into like a room temperature cup of water and letting it sit for like at least 5 minutes or so. And if it is still floating at the top, then you have low porosity. If it's in halfway in the middle of the cup or where the water sits, then you more than likely have medium porosity. And if it flows down to the bottom, then you have high porosity. That is not a surefire way, but that is the best way to really find out. People will still recommend, go see a hair professional for them to really show you how to maintain your specific type of hair. So for me, I have low porosity hair. So what I realized on my natural hair journey is really understanding that products that do cater to hydration do work better for my hair. So that is just my experience. Now we're going to talk a bit about like the social experience. And so sometimes the question is, do you find yourself being treated differently with your natural hair versus when your hair was like straightened? So I had relaxers, and as a little kid, I would get my hair pressed. So like hot combs and flat irons. So do you find that there is a different experience? Yes, it is a different experience. Now, I do believe that there are multiple factors that play into that. So I had straight hair as a child all the way up until like early adulthood. So up until I was like 18, 19 years old. And then from there, I transitioned for 2 years. And then at about 21, I was completely natural. For the past about 7 years of my life, I've been natural. So in my adulthood and in my professional career, I've been natural. So, and I've also lived in a different place. So where I lived when I was a teenager is not where I live now. And so I do believe that there are a lot of factors that go into my social experience, because I grew up in a city that was very diverse, right? So you have a little bit of everything there, all different types of people and hair types and all of these different things. It was such a diverse environment. And then I moved and went to school and moved into a city that is predominantly white. Not to say that there are not Black people or people of color that live here, because they are, but my city where I currently live is predominantly white. And so it is a different experience because I have an extra level of social anxiety sometimes, being a professional, being in the workplace, going out, and I'm the face of my organization. And so I'm the one that represents my organizations at meetings, at events, and I'm rubbing elbows with other professionals. And more often than not, they do not look like me, right? Even this week alone, I forgot that I had a presentation and my hair is looking like this, right? And there was a moment of, oh my gosh, what are they gonna think about my hair walking into this presentation? Especially because when I walked into the room, I was one of 3 people of color in the entire room. So it's like, did they think about my hair? I still deal with that. Like, please hear me. Even as this has been a 10-year journey for me, I do still think about, what do people think about my hair? Are they going to see me as less professional? And the thing that I really just sat in for that specific presentation was, you are the expert in this room, and sit in that, right? Like, whether they do feel a way about your hair, you're the expert, because you're the expert in this room that can speak to your organization, what your organization does, the work that you do on a day in and day out. No one else in this room is more educated on you than you about your organization, about the work that you do. So you're the expert. So whether they have thoughts or feelings about your hair, and whether they do or do not feel or deem it as professional, does not matter, because you are the expert in this room. And that really just kind of like calmed my anxiety. But I do wonder, like, do people think? What do people think? And there was, of course, an adjustment as I have been in different spheres within my professional career. And so you come into contact with people and they do. And you do have people that are curious about your hair and they want to touch your hair. But then you also have to be careful because in the Black community and even in the natural hair community, there are still, I guess, standards or expectations about how to present your hair. And so one, as someone who is with type 4 hair, so I have more coily hair, more tight curls, more coarse, kinky hair, my hair is not deemed as the good hair, even in the natural hair community, right? And so you have that. I don't necessarily believe in always having to set my edges and my hair having to be slick and all of that. I don't believe in that. You have people that are like, okay, yeah, your hair can be kinky and coily, but at least set your edges, And so being a Black girl that does not believe in having to set her edges, that has been a thing. I've been told, like, your hair is nice or your hair is pretty, but like, why you don't never set your edges? Why you don't never just, wear a straight sew-in? Like, why you don't just, have some inches flowing down your back? Why you don't get you just a 30-inch bust down? Like, and it's like, because I don't want to. Because I don't want to. But for some people, that is not an acceptable answer. It's this idea that your hair has to look a type of way. Or being asked, like, are you going to straighten your hair? Why don't you ever straighten your hair? Like, when you going to straighten your hair? And it's like, I'm not. Like, I have no intention to. I have no desire to. But it's this idea that is how, even with your natural hair, your edges have to be set. Like, okay, you could be natural, but at least set your edges. That's how you make your natural hair presentable. And it's like, no. Or, it's better if, you don't wear your afro, because there are times where I have just worn my afro. And I'll try to insert different clips of pictures of my hair at its various stages. But there are times where I'm like, don't wear your afro. Like, it's this idea like, oh no, don't do your afro. Or people see your afro and it's like, oh, what's up, my Black Nubian queen? Or what's up, sister? Or grand rising queen. And it's like, what's up? Like, you don't have to do all that. Like, yes, I embrace my Blackness. I embrace my hair. This is Jewel. I did not introduce her, and I'm so sorry. But this is Jewel. This is my hair. I did name my hair. And I have to shout out to Auntie Tab, because when she named her hair Donna, and I was just like, why I never named my hair? Like, why I never thought about that? And so this is Jewel because she's the jewel in my crown, the crown of my head. So she's the jewel in my crown. And so say, hey, Jewel. Hey, Jewel. Yes, girl. So this is her, and I love her. And yes, I love my Blackness, and I stand by my Blackness, and I love my natural hair. But my natural hair was not a statement in the sense of, I'm doing this to show how Black I am, or I'm doing it to necessarily stick it to the man. I made decisions for myself that felt right to me. Now, if that makes you uncomfortable, that's a you problem, right? Like, that's a you problem. And I have realized that there are people in the Black community as well as in other racial communities that do have an issue with your natural hair, or are uncomfortable with your natural hair, or don't really know how to navigate your natural hair, because for some people it is uncomfortable. And in the Black community, I think for a lot of us, we have been conditioned to believe that, like, our straight hair and getting relaxers or perms, or even just having your hair pressed, is the most acceptable professional way. And then you have people that have their own traumas, right? They've been disrespected, they've been outcasted, they've been told that they're not good enough, they've been denied opportunities because of their hair. And so I'm not gonna say that my hair is not a statement, because at the end of the day, when I walk into a room, you're going to know that there's a Black woman walking into that room. I'm Black from the crown of my head to the soles of my feet. I am a Black woman through and through. And so, yes, when I walk into a room, you're going to see a Black woman. And a lot of the time, that is going to encompass my natural hair. And if that makes you uncomfortable, that's on you. That has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with me. Now, I can say that has not necessarily been my experience, where I have been knowingly or at least aware of, not receiving opportunities because of my hair, being denied opportunities, rejected of opportunities. I have not been kicked out because of my hair. But I do think part of that is having allies that are in leadership that understand a bit about the Black experience, and having been connected to Black people to understand a bit about the experience, or which is a big thing to me, having Black people in leadership. And so I have been very fortunate in my lifetime and in my professional career to have Black leaders, whether male or female. And I have, they have had their own natural hair experiences, or their own hair journeys, male and female, right? And so having that understanding, I do think has helped in my professional career. But yeah, you do experience people wanting to touch your hair or being fascinated about your hair. How did you get your hair like that? Or, both sides, why don't you straighten it? Are you ever going to straighten it? And I don't think that people understand that question, even in the innocence of it, some people are just like, oh, I really just want to see your hair maybe stretch, or I want to see the fullness of, the length or where your hair is. I think some people mean well, just out of curiosity, will you ever straighten it? But yeah, no, I straightened my hair technically once, but it didn't give silk press. Like, it wasn't giving silk press. It wasn't giving Sukiyana. Like, ooh, it was giving a really good blowout. But I also think it's because, like, my flat irons had grown old. It hadn't been used in years. And so I think they just really did not know how to navigate. Or they were not the best flat irons to use on my natural hair at that time, because I had them since I was relaxed. So I do think there are a lot of things, that play. But I know sometimes it's like the mental and the psychological impacts, right? How does that affect you? It is difficult, because in my journey, I really have had to undo a lot of conditioned mindsets and biases about natural hair, about my hair. And I do still walk into places, like I said, just this week, with a bit of that nervousness or a bit of that anxiety about, how am I going to be received? Are you going to be able to receive me? Are you going to be judging me? Because the fact of the matter is, presentation leads to perception. In the first, I think it's like the study says, in the first 7 seconds, somebody's already judged you based upon how you walk into a room, right? And so I already know that walking in with my natural hair, that there are going to be people that are going to have a difficulty receiving from me, seeing me as professional, seeing me as good enough. But at the end of the day, for me, the most important thing was, this is how my hair grows out of my head, and learning to love me and the skin that I'm in. And that took a lot of time to do. And I'm in that place where I love my natural hair, and I love the skin that I'm in, and I love how I present to the world, whether it's in its natural state or not. And so I really have been sitting in that, and also leaning into natural hairstyles. Like, even if I'm not necessarily wearing my hair, wearing more realistic natural hairstyles in my protective styling. So I love faux locks, leaning a lot more into twists, and a lot less into braids. Braids still count, but I realize I don't wear my hair braided as much, and I love locks. And I have considered locking up as well. Not completely sure about that. Just leaning into wearing my natural hair, or natural hair styles that reflect what my natural hair looks like, to events. So if I'm going to a birthday party or to a wedding or whatever, being okay with wearing my hair in a natural hairstyle. There have been times where I have used clip-ins, and making sure that they are in a natural hair texture. So they're very kinky and coily, very similar to my natural hair, right? Or how my hair looks in a twist out. So being intentional about those things, to not lean into feeling like my hair has to be straight to be deemed professional, or to be deemed put together, or stylish, or cute, or presentable. And so really breaking down a lot of those stigmas and perspectives and biases. And it has not been an easy feat. It has been a 10-year journey for me, but it has definitely been one for the books, and I don't regret my decision. I don't regret my decision. Like, I don't want to go back to perms. I have never had a desire at all. Yes, has there been times when my hair is difficult and I'm trying to figure out how to manage it, and there have been times where I've defaulted to bad habits that have not been the most beneficial for even my natural hair, but really learning those things and being able to undo those things and put my hair in a place where she is growing and she is thriving and she's retaining length and she is in a healthy state. And please hear me, just because I'm talking about my natural hair does not mean that you can't have healthy, relaxed hair or texturized hair or permed hair or whatever it is that you want to do. This is just me talking about my experience and my journey. And I do believe that we need to have more honest and real conversations and dialogue about the natural hair experience, because you're getting it sometimes from both sides, right? Like, you're getting it from people that don't look like you, that don't have hair like you, and don't understand it. And you're also getting it sometimes from people in your own community, because it's people in my own community that have told me that my hair is nappy and why you don't do this or why you don't do that, or when you gonna do this, or you need to do this to make your hair look more presentable or put together. Like, I've been told literally, oh wow, like, you're so pretty, but I wish you would, really fix up your hair more. I really wish you would, like, lay your edges. Like, oh, your hair looks nice, your hair is cute, but, like, I wish you would set your edges. Like, why you never lay your edges? Right? And these are not the compliments that people think they are. And so it is sometimes difficult to navigate, but it's really just figuring out, where do you want to be? How do you want to present? And if that's with relaxed hair, then that's what relaxed hair. If that's what natural hair, then that's what natural hair. And really figuring that out. That could be locks. That can be keeping your hair in twists. That can be doing a shortcut. Like, whatever that is for you, you have to figure out how it is that you want to show up. And that's about figuring out what makes you feel like the best version of yourself and sticking to that and sitting in that. And one of the things that has helped me on my journey is holding on to my reasoning for why I wanted to go natural in the first place, right? I really wanted to accept my hair in its natural state. I really wanted to do away with the chemical processing because it was not doing any good for my hair. I can talk more about my natural hair journey, but and the journey that led to me going natural. But like, my hair just was not thriving for the most part. Majority of the time, it was not thriving. And so really just getting into a place where I really wanted to accept my hair in its truest and natural form. And it has been a journey for sure, but it's a journey that I would not change. And so I love it. I love my hair. I love where I am in my journey. My hair, I'm seeing the growth and I'm seeing how it is evolving, and just the comfort and that I feel in my skin and the confidence that I feel to walk into rooms with my hair looking like this. And to some people, you may see my hair right now and be like, ooh, girl, why you got on camera with your hair looking like that? But it's because I've gained a certain level of confidence to be able to do that, and to be like, whether my hair is fully slicked back and it's with a fresh twist out, or it's a little dry, maybe a little matted, a little crusty, that in all areas and facets that my hair may go through, that it's always beautiful. And that is how I feel. And so I would love to hear about, where are you? Where are you in your hair journey? Are you relaxed? Do you get texturizers? Do you get perms? Or are you natural? Were you natural and, went back to being relaxed? What has been that journey for you? If you have any questions, if you want me to dive deeper into my natural hair journey, I'm completely here for that. But that is it for today's video. I really hope that this is just an opportunity for us to be reflective on ourselves, on our communities, on how we want to present in this world. And I hope that that inspired you, that if you are you've been back and forth about going natural, maybe you are in a place to finally make a decision and be able to stand on your decision. And I believe in making well thought out decisions. And that's why, I think I have not personally had any regrets, because I researched and I took time to make sure that this was something that I wanted. And even with all the research, it could not prepare me for the experiences that I've had. But I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. And so I hope that you feel encouraged no matter where you are in your hair journey, male or female, because understanding that even though I'm speaking as a Black woman, I know that men deal with experiences within their natural hair and navigating their hair journeys as well. And so wherever you are and whatever you have going on and however you decide to wear your hair, I pray that you feel confident and secure in who you are and who God has created you to be and where God is calling you to be and who he's calling you to be. And that is the most important thing. So that is all for today's video. I would love to hear you sound off in the comments about your hair journey. Where are you? Maybe some challenges that you face if you feel comfortable with that. I'll see you back here next time for another video. But until then, remember that I love you. God loves you. So remember to always, and I do mean always, love you too. Smooches, Lovebug.